Tarkov is a very love-hate relationship for me. I can go from having a wonderful time to debating if all of the bad moments in my life are actually my fault. So whenever I first heard of Tarkov Arena and the closed beta testing and the idea of fighting other players in a PvP fast-paced environment without the fear of losing your gear, I was extremely interested. And lo and behold, I actually got access and got to try it out and got to play it, and it's a lot of fun, but definitely has some issues. I even played against Chief GG and Willers, and I did lose because they're Chief GG and Willers, but I did put up a good fight. And the community was, well, the Tarkov community. Dude, like... I hit him like 3 times, dude. But that's what we're talking about, is the Tarkov Arena closed beta testing and my thoughts on it and my first impressions. So, get your stims and other performance-enhancing drugs that you can inject into a crazy Russian man, and let's get straight into it. My name is Cambodia, and if you could subscribe and maybe tell someone about me, that would mean the absolute world to me. So, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and enjoy the video. Now, upon booting up the game, you're quickly greeted with a man looking into your soul as if you're on a Gmod RP server and you just committed fail RP and that's the admin. And along with this, you see Arena Battle and a preset. Now, in Arena Battle, you will see 2 playable game modes, Shootout and Teamfight. Now, Shootout is a 2v2 or 3v3 mode that is held in a round tournament style system, where you are watching an arena and you watch the other teams fight until it's your turn to go. And if you win, you keep going, and every time you win, you get 3 points until the 2 teams with the highest points battle it out in a best of 3, and whoever wins that wins the tournament. Now, along with this being an elimination mode, there is also an objective that gets activated after a little while that you can choose to go after. Now, this mode is actually a lot of fun, and I had a great time with it. I love the anticipation of waiting to get into the next round, and shit-talking teams while you're in the waiting area, and overall just a very fun time. A team fight is a 5v5 elimination mode with an objective that you can also capture that gets activated after a while, but is not held in a tournament system. It is just you versus the other team in the first to reach 5. Both of these game modes I think are very fun, and they're very safe game modes to go for if you're trying to be kind of a new arcadey version of Tarkov. It just is simple, easy to learn, and just allows you to get the aspects pretty quickly and get into PvP fast. Now, below the arena battle, you'll see presets. Whenever you click on the presets, you'll see a list of different classes with a bunch of gear sets that you can unlock, and it works in kind of a tree XP system where you have to play the class before to unlock the next class in that specific tree. If you're playing CQB, you have to play the starting class a lot to unlock the second class. And to unlock the third class, you have to play the second class. And to unlock the fourth class, you have to play the third class, and so on and so forth. Now, for the different presets, you have Assault, CQB, Scout, Marksman, and Favorites, where you can just favorite your favorite presets, and Collection, which right now there's only one, and that's if you got into the closed beta testing. Now, some of the presets do feel better than others, and that's the only part that kind of worries me about this area. I mean, there's a very much bigger problem, but I'm going to get to that later. But some of these presets do definitely feel fucking wild in comparison to the others, especially some of the Marksman classes and Scout classes feel a little bit weaker. But that's just my opinion. I could be wrong. I have been absolutely decked by some of the Marksman and Scout builds. Now, after you know, find your favorite class you want to play and get your favorite preset that you want to start out with, you will queue up for a match either with friends or solo, it doesn't really matter. And you'll get into a match and you'll quickly learn that you have to select your preset once you are in the match. Now, this does feel a little pointless to me because there really is no counter picking in terms of like seeing the other person pick their class and then you pick yours. And this kind of makes me wish that you could just select your preset and lock in before you queue, and then once you queue, you're not allowed to change it. That way, we don't have to wait through this smaller period of time to actually get into the game and play it. It just feels kind of pointless to me. Maybe I'm wrong, but I just really feel like it would be better just to select it beforehand. Now, once you get into the game, this is where I find most of the problems actually occur. Surprising, whenever you're playing the game, that's where most of the problems are. But if you look closely at the main menu, you will see your ARP, your Arena Reputation Points. And this works as kind of an elo system for the game. What ends up happening is the higher tier gear you have doesn't matter because it doesn't correlate to your elo. Your elo is its own thing. It's not tied to your gear system. That doesn't account for that. So what can end up happening is players that have lower elo but higher gear tier presets can match with players who have the base elo and base gear sets because they're newer. The newer players get fucking pub stomped because the ranking system doesn't account for gear tiers or your gear set. And I've seen clips of this shit all over the subreddit and all over online. I mean, look at this one in particular. This guy puts a full 100 round mag of the M4 class of the CQB into a player that has much higher tier gear than him, and it's a 100 round mag, and he just doesn't die. So all these higher tier preset players with Pislow end up going to these lower games and just absolutely fucking destroying everyone. And that's the biggest problem for me, is there should be a system in place that accounts for gear sets. And since it's the closed beta testing, it would have been a lot easier just to have this be unranked. That way they could figure it out early on that, hey, we need to have a system for actual presets and not just elo. And I know this because this happened to me. I had the base CQB gear set, and I was put into matches with players with Altons and fucking decked out AKs, scars with like M62. Like, it makes a very large difference. I think that they should have it split into gear tiers myself. Maybe there's a better way to do this, but it should be base tiers go with base, or base presets go with base presets. You know, the second level of presets go with second level of presets, or just at least try to match it with a preset that is closer, rather than going off of solely just elo, because that right now is simply just it's just not really working. But there are definitely positives to Arena. It's a ton of fun with friends, and I had a blast playing it with my boy Steven and my boy Little Durf. You don't know them, but it was a lot of fun. It is definitely great for getting more comfortable and learning the mechanics of Tarkov, especially if you're a new player, without that gear fear and that sense of like punishment almost whenever you die. I do think that's part of the experience, sadly, playing Tarkov. But if you just want to make it a little easier on yourself, Arena is definitely a way to do that. It took me so long to learn so many little aspects of the movement and aiming in Tarkov just from trial and error, and I feel like this will expedite that by like 10 times. Along with this, it does something that I actually really appreciate. It allows you to test out guns and certain gear sets in Tarkov that you wouldn't normally use just because you're not familiar with them, and get a better hang of them. For example, I have never really used the SR25, except for a very few times, and that's mainly because I just use other guns because I prefer them. But after playing Arena and having the option to use any kind of guns I want, it felt a lot better to try out the SR25 and the RSAS and all these really high tier meta guns and use them in a way that is not like I just don't give a shit and I can run around and just really use them to their full extent and see where they differ, see how long the reload time is, and just try out 50 round mags and just try out all these different kind of variables that I had never really thought of before. Because the gun customization in Tarkov is absolutely insane, and quite frankly, I was never that great at min-maxing or just really doing anything super complex. So this was wonderful for me. Overall, I think that this has wonderful potential, and it is about what I expected. Because whenever you take something as hardcore and realistic as Tarkov and try and put it into an arcadey setting that is fast-paced, it is going to have issues, and this is pretty much what I expected from it. I think that this could be great and wonderful if they just tweaked some of it, such as obviously the elo system and the gear system, just match it with players that have similar gear sets. But if you get into the closed beta test, absolutely go try it out for yourself, because it can be a blast and a wonderful time. But I would also love to know what you guys think, and if you guys disagree with me, because I'm absolutely open-minded and I can be persuaded if I am wrong. Which, you know, then again, I can be. I'm just a 19-year-old with a microphone. So I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. My name is Cambrodia. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and if you did, again, please subscribe and like it, and maybe tell someone about me. But other than that, I will see you guys next time.